Hi everybody, it's Anita here. I'm making a series of small videos to break down some of the components of the class into smaller chunks with smaller videos and to go through each joint. So today this video is going to be about hips and knees. So some of the exercises that we were doing, I'll break them down into more simplistic movements and hopefully you will benefit from that. Okay, so we'll come onto the mat. And what I tend to have close by is a chair, some cushions, just to modify some of the exercise if you need to. 2 or 3 should do the job. And our band that works our knee and hip muscles. So we have a red loop band. If you don't have a red loop band and you have a more open band or lying around the house, you can tie this in a knot around our knees. So I'll demonstrate that in a moment. So we're going to start in sitting, and I'll be moving the chair around so you can get front angles and side angles. So let's have a seat and put the the red band around your knees. So if you don't have the loop band, as I said, you can tie a band around your knees, having your knees together and tie a knot, a double knot, nice and tight and snug. So when you stand up, you have a little bit of tension to make the knee and hip muscles work a little bit more. So the purpose of the red band is that we have a little bit of feedback for our knees to know where they need to be while we're doing the exercises. So we spoke before about a good knee position, and you want it to be out over your first and second toes. So when standing, out over the first and second toe, the knee cap. And the other thing about the knee position is that when we go into lunges or some squats and things, you want the knees to rest behind the toes, that they're not drifting forward. Okay, so they're the two big things. The knees are apart, so they're not jamming together, that they're open and out over the first and second toe and pushing out against the red band. And then the other thing is that when you are going to do some standing work, that those knees stay behind the toes, so you can always see your toes. So we're going to start in the seated position, and we're going to just warm up the hips and knees. So feet to 12 o'clock, that's just the other thing to remember. That keeps a good alignment right up the chain, the kinetic chain we call it, or up through the joint of the lower limb and into the trunk. So feet to 12, and we're going to start by just pushing the knees out into the band. So you're starting with the small gap between the knees and you're pushing out into the band. Your feet will roll with that, so you're getting a nice mobility through the arches of the feet. But try to keep the big toe on the floor, so that's not, the feet aren't completely lifting off. So keep the big toe down. If comfortable, it will lift a little, and that's fine. So you're starting to feel a little bit of warmth into the thigh and into the bottom muscles. And from the side, I just want your back to be soft and relaxed. If you want to rest it against the back of the chair, that's fine too. You don't want to be too arched and over vigorous through the trunk, and you don't want to be too round. So just somewhere where it's soft and straight. So we'll push out into that for 10 and 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and another set from the front. Off we go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. So feeling a little bit of warmth into the hip and knee muscles. It's important that you stop whenever you feel you need to. So you need to use your own body's wisdom. If it's getting uncomfortable or strained, that you stop. You do want to work to a level of fatigue that you're feeling the tiredness, and it needs to be a hard level of work that you can get changes in the muscle function that will strengthen and support your joints. So that's that position. We're going to do a sit to stand now. So you can raise the height of your chair if you need it. So I've just put an extra pillow there. So I'll start from the side angle. If you don't need it, that's fine too. But a sit to stand is a great exercise to work the hips and knees with the band around it because it keeps the knees informed of where to be in space, and that keeps the bum muscles active. So the first thing we want to do is start that lean forward position. The feet to 12 and knees slightly apart. You can scoot out to the edge and you choose the height level that you need. The higher it is, the easier. So it's often good to start at a higher level first and then take the pillows away one by one. So we're going to roll forward and you want to dig into the heels. Just dig into your heels, that's really good. For 1, 2, and the knees are opening out of the band. You'll feel the bum muscles work. 3 and 4 and 5. And now we're going to go all the way. So have the hands in front, rock forward onto your heels, and we often use nose over toes and stand up. Good. And we're going to sit down the same way. So you're going to reach forward, take a bow, nose over toes, and sit down. Good. And off we go for 1 and 2. So nose over toes, push to the heels and stand up for 3 and 4. Good. And 5. That's it. So you're really pressing into the heels. That activates the bum muscles and the knee muscles. Lovely. Last 2. That's great. And you can take a seat. I'm going to do another set now from the front. So you want the feet pointing to 12 and knees gently pushing out into that band. Rock forward and let's go for 1 and 2. And you can reach the hand out in front just for counterbalance because you're getting your bum right back, and often that can feel a little bit like you're being thrown off balance, but having your hands in front helps with the balance and you get nice shoulder activation as well. So 5 more. 5 and reach and sit. That's it. Nose over toes and a little push into the heels. You'll feel the bum muscles really working. 3 and 2 and 1. Good work. We're going to progress that a little bit now. So a progression might be take the the cushion out, 1 cushion or 2 cushions. The lower it is, the harder it is. The higher their height is, the easier it is. But also we can progress it by doing a staggered sit to stand. So you can place 1 foot slightly in front and 1 foot slightly behind. The behind leg is going to work a little bit harder and you'll feel that. Again, you might need to raise the height with this adjustment, and you're going to just rock forward a couple of times first. Feel the weight into the heels, so you're pressing the heels into the ground, nose over toes, a little push out into the red band, so watch that the knees don't drift in on you. Keep the little gap, and let's go for 1. Good, taking your bow and then sit. 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, and we're going to do 1 more to 8 and have a little rest. I'm going to swap the chair into a different angle so that you can see from the side, and you're going to swap legs. Okay, so whatever foot was behind, you're going to put it in front now, because remember the back leg does the work. So let's take a rock forward for 3 and 2 and 1. Nose over toes, push through that back leg and stand up. That's it, and sit down. And as you stand up, really stand up so the hips and knees are straight, that you're not just here. Stand up, get the hips straight and the knees straight. That's it. So let's go for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Standing up really tall. Good, good, good. And take a break. You can keep the band on. We're going to progress now up into the standing position. So we're going to move the chair so the back is facing you and you have a little bit of support. And we're going to stretch out the hip muscles a little bit now for you. So you're going to stand about arm's reach from the chair. I'm going to move this forward. And you're just going to send your bum back and stretch, lovely. So just sending the bum all the way back, taking your bow and stretching into the hips and into the trunk as well. For 5 and 4 and 3. So it's the forward lean stretch. 2 and 1, that's great. Take a step closer to the chair and we're going to do mini squats. Again, we're going to keep the band around, they talk to the hip and knee muscles and keep them fully engaged. Take a couple of breaths, check that the body is soft and ready to go. And the first thing you're going to do is, again, just bringing the attention to your feet to 12 if that's comfortable. A little push out into the band. And you're going to take a small seat. So take your bow. We'll start off with taking the bow first. So send the bum back and then a small seat by bending through the knees. So imagine there's a high stool behind you and you're just going to see, can the bum touch the high stool and stand back up again. So feet to 12 and a small seat and back up. So remember the key things here, that the knees aren't tracking or falling ahead of your toes. So I'll just demonstrate. Sometimes people do that and that can really irritate the kneecap area in your knees. So you really want to get the bum muscles going here. So you're going to take a bow and then a small bend to the knees, lovely. Let's try for 8. So 1 and 2 and 3, good, and 4 and 5 and 6, and you can step back a little bit more if you're comfortable to do so, so you have a full outstretched arm. 7 and 8, and if you're comfortable to hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and right back up. That's great. You can do a little circle through the hips. 3, 2, and 1. Let's go for another set of 8 if you're comfortable to do so. Stop whenever you need to. So a little seat for 1. So you send the bum back first and then take your seat. 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6. Remember to stand right back up. 7, so stand up nice and tall, good. And 8. And if you're comfortable to just hold that seat for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And up you go, that's great work. We're now going to do some gentle rotations out into the band. So I'll demonstrate here first. For you, you'll keep your hands on the chair. You're going to take that small seat again. And then you're going to push your knees just out into the band. So we did it similar earlier on the chair, and this is just a standing version with hand support. Okay, so we'll start with thinking about your feet to 12. Take a small seat on that high bar stool behind you, the imaginary stool, and just going to push the knees out into the band and back into the middle. And you're getting that rolling through the foot and the feet as well, so it's working the arches of the feet. Check in with your toe that they're not clawing, so release the toes, spread them wide, because often they can claw in this one if it becomes a bit difficult. So we're going to go for 5 more. 5, 4, I'm just going to demonstrate from in front. You keep your hands in the chair. 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Up we stand and some shoulder circles. If you're comfortable to keep going, you can go up to 20 with that. So just watch that the toes aren't clawing and the big toe isn't lifting fully off the floor. You want to keep the toe connected to the floor if possible. So take your seat, drop through the knees a little bit, and we'll push out into the band for 8. So let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's it. Lean forward into it, that's it, as far as you can. 7, and 8. Good. And rest up. That's great work. And some hip circles. For 3, and 2, and 1. Great work. Now we're going to progress on to some single leg work if you're comfortable. One more exercise. I'm going to demonstrate from the front again while you're having a bit of a recuperation. You're going to try that small squat, and if it's comfortable, you're going to step to the side with your right foot first, keeping the knee in that nice position on the left side So it's the left side that will be working quite hard here so that the knee doesn't roll with you. So you're pushing the knee out into the band as the right foot steps to the side. Okay, so that's it from the front. Let's try, keep the hands on the chair. This is a higher level one, so if you want to give this a breather until you feel more comfortable, that's fine too. So a little seat, so bum tracks back, and you bend through the knees. We're going to take the weight onto our left foot and a little side step and back to the centre. A little side step with the right for 1. Just trying to keep the knee in that nice position where it is behind the toe and out over the first and second toe. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nice hard work through that left side. So it's a really good one, because when we walk every day, you have a moment where there is just your leg is taking all your body support. So that's why single leg work is really good to improve gait for walking, running, hill walking, whatever that is. Another just point to note that when you're doing it while you're breathing is when you step out to the side with the right side, that your left hip isn't falling too far over to the side. So you're trying to keep up the shoulder up and above that hip. That is a sign that if it's falling to the side, your bum isn't working, is a bit weak. So you want to try and really keep the shoulder up over your first and second toe, or up over your hip, excuse me. So now we're going to sidestep the left foot. So take a bow first, little bend into the knees. Take the weight onto the right side, so you can use your hands to help you with that, and then side step with your left for 1 and 2, good, and 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, good, and back to the centre. Stand up. We're going to try one more on each side, and I'm going to demonstrate from the front. So imagine my 2 hands are on my chair. Sit down, so bum back first, then take a seat. I'm just going to rest my hand on that side. We're going to step out with the right so that my left leg is taking the weight as the right moves aside. And this is a good progression, this position, where you're using one hand for a little bit of support, and it does prop the trunk up so that you're not side bending like that. 3 more. 3 and 2 and 1 and back to the middle, and we stand tall. Good. So last one on that side, if you're comfortable to do so. If your bum is really tired at this stage, that's perfectly fine. That's enough. So we're going to sit back into a small squat, bum back, knees apart into the band, hand onto the right side now. And you're going to side step for 1 and 2 and 3. Watch the toes aren't clawing. Soft shoulders, often the shoulders might be up at this stage. Resting them down. 3 and 2 and 1. Back to the middle. Up you stand, lovely. And just shimmy through the hips. Circles through the hips. Thank you very much. Great workout. So you can work through that at your own pace, at own speed. Thank you. See you soon.